Good morning, Algebra 1. Today we're just going to fill out some data on some Algebra 1 students, left-handed versus right-handed, and compare them. The first part of the assignment is going to be on Teams, so if you guys hop into Teams, the assignment is going to be through Excel. It says assignment 1.16. So when you select the assignment, it'll open up an Excel document. We're going to do some stuff in Excel. And once we open up that document, do this stuff in Excel, we're going to transfer it over to OneNote. So we're going to do a little bit of both. The homework is going to be to finish what we started in class today. So here we go. Here we got a lot of data. We have the height, foot length, and arm span of left-handed Algebra 1 students and right-handed Algebra 1 students. And we're just going to look at the data and see what we find. So the instructions on the bottom left. And so you're just going to follow along with me, do this on your Excel spreadsheet, and then for homework, you're going to actually just finish it. So use the data given concerning Algebra 1 students to make a comparison between left and right-handed people concerning their height, foot length, and arm span to see if there are any differences. Include the following measure of center in your spreadsheet, mean and median. Also include the following measures of spread, the mean absolute deviation, or the MAD, standard deviation, and IQR. For each data set, construct a histogram and a box plot, discuss the shape of each plot, and state which measure of center and spread should be used. Type into the cell with plot. Determine if any data sets has outliers. If there are outliers, should the data be kept in the data set? When you have finished, either copy and paste or snip tool your answers and paste them into OneNote. And then to use the MAD, we're going to use that formula, but you'll see me do it anyways. Ooh. All right, so what we're asked to do is really just fill out this table here. We need the left-handed people and the right-handed people's mean, median, MAD, SD, and IQR for their height, foot length, and arm span. So we're going to do foot length together, and then for homework, you're going to do the same thing for height and arm span. So I'm zooming out so I can just see all the data a little bit better. And now let's find the mean foot length for the left-handed people. So equals average foot length is right here. Median equals median. And you can just double click this if you don't want to spell it. And we're doing foot length all through this column. And for average deviation, the MAD, it's AVDEV, EVE, DEV. Standard deviation, that's ST, P, dot P. To find the IQR, we need to find Q1 and Q3 first. When you do the quartile, it's the EXE one. Don't forget, after you highlight the data, you gotta do comma 1 for Q1. And for Q3, same thing, but do comma 3 at the end. Comma 3. And the IQR is when we just take Q3 and subtract Q1 from it. We were also asked to make a box plot and histogram for the data. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. For this, I'm going to go to Insert this time, Other Charts, and we want the histogram. And for the foot lengths, we also want the box plot. Doesn't matter where you put it, but I'm just gonna put them here. We're gonna end up moving them to OneNote in a little bit anyways. Now we gotta do the same thing for the foot length for the right-handed people. So we have the right-handed right-handed people here. And there's a lot of them. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can catch it all. Ooh. A little more. There we go. All right, so we got to do the same thing. I want to calculate all those things. So we need the average. So the average foot length of right-handed people equals median for the median foot length. All right, nope. Let's try this again. I gotta do that again. All right, so those are measures of center, and then now AvDev for average deviation. And let's find out what the spread is for right-handers. SCDEV. So what we're doing here is just kind of putting everything we've done together. This is the last lesson where we're looking at data, finding all the information we need about it, talking about, afterwards we'll talk about outliers, interpret its meaning, and it'll be kind of a good way to get ready for the test coming up next week. All right, Q3, or IQR is Q3 minus, Q1. Cool. All right, so let's just make our graphs and we will be done. Done. So we're gonna get our histogram and copy the numbers. And we're gonna insert the box and whisker, which is a box plot. Okay. All right, so our next thing is we just need to copy this over to OneNote. So if you get over in OneNote, we're going to go to class notes, and we're going to go to 1.16, the data analysis page, and we're going to paste all of our information into the foot length boxes and answer some questions about it, but it won't take very long. So let's find the information we need. Okay. So the average, I'm just going to copy and paste. Oops, that's what to do. There we go. So the mean foot length, there, simple enough. The median is 25. So that's our center. Now we need to find the measures of our spread. The MAD, standard deviation, about 37.5. And the IQR. There we go. We need to put the histogram box plot in as well. Oops. So this is the left-handed one. and the box plot. Okay, so we also wanted the shape, and this is definitely not symmetric, so I'm going to call this skewed to the right. There's this one value on the right that's really pushing everything away from the middle. We didn't have to do anything but put the box plot in here. And discussion of outliers. So we have 2 outliers right here, this point right here, and this point up here. And what we're asked to do is talk about is there an issue with these outliers? If you remember reading in here, we were asked to discuss the shape of the plot, which we did. We said it was skewed, and state which measure of center of spread should be used. So we'll type that in a second. And then determine if there's any outliers. If there are outliers, should they be kept in the data set? So looking at the data, we know the data is skewed to the right. So since it's not symmetric, we'll use the median for a measure of center and the IQR for a measure of spread or variability. Okay. So the outliers, what are the outliers? It's the 2 biggest numbers in this data set. So if I want to find the 2 biggest numbers in the left-handed column, I'm going to put them in order. So to put them in order, I'm going to right click, sort, and we're going to sort them in ascending. All right, you could also go just sort. We can also go here and hit sort ascending, and it's going to tell us that the foot sizes for these left-handed Algebra 1 students, the smallest is 19, and it goes all the way to 213, and these are the 2 values, the 65 and the 213. These 2 are what are the 2 outlier points here. So 65 centimeters, if I want to turn that into inches, just divided by about 2.54. So that's about 25 and a half inch foot. And the other guy had 213. Holy cow. Divided by 2.54. This is going to put it in inches. Yeah, no one has over a 2 foot, and definitely no one has a foot that's 83 inches. I mean, that's really big. I mean, a 5-foot person is 60 inches, so there's no way anyone has feet that big. So get rid of the 2 outliers. Algebra 1 students don't have feet this big. Right? No one has an 83-inch foot or a 25-inch foot in Algebra 1. So don't count those when you're interpreting the data. All right. Finally, we're going to do the same thing for right-handed. Copy and paste all of our stuff over, and that'll be it. So let's get the right-handers. The average right-hander has a foot length of 24.8 centimeters. The median 25.45. So here are some ways to calculate spread. And the IQR. Okay. So the average for left-handers is higher, 33. On average, they have a 33 centimeter foot versus a 24.8 centimeter foot. The median is slightly lower. The middle foot length is 25, where half the values are below and half the values are above 25. For the right-handers, it's 25.45. But the spread for left-footed people is way bigger than the spread for right-footed people, except the IQR. So that's because of those outliers of the left-footed people that the IQR doesn't get affected quite as much, and same with the median. So we're definitely right to use the median and the IQR if we're going to discount that unsymmetric data and get rid of those outliers. All right, we need to find the histogram, which we have. Now, the shape of this histogram, it looks very symmetric. I like this one. It's symmetric. Distribution. So we got a symmetric shape, and for a measure of center, we can use the mean or median. Doesn't really matter. I'm just choosing median. Since they should be since they're about the same. For spread, you can use whatever you want in this case. We can use the standard deviation or MAD, doesn't matter, or IQR. Again, because the data is spread out so evenly. Moving on, let's get that box plot in. That one looks a little bit more normal to me. Okay. It's gonna be a little bit bigger. So we have 3 outliers here, it looks like. Those 3 dots, 1, the dot down there and the dot in the bottom. So we have 3 outliers here, and what do we think about the outliers? Should we keep them or should we not? Well, let's see what they are. I'm going to put these numbers here for foot length. Let's put them in order. So sort. You can either right click and hit sort, or we can just go over here and go to ascending. Just sort. We don't want to do anything more than that. So there's an outlier that's really high, the 45, and the outliers that are on the lower end are 1 centimeter and 12 centimeters. Let's look at those in inches and see if we should keep them. So 1, 12, and 45. So the outliers are 1, 12, and 45. There's no way. I mean, divide that by 2.54. Yeah, no one has a foot that's less than 1 inch big in Algebra 1. Even no one has a foot that's less than 5 inches. That's really unlikely, so I'm probably going to get rid of that one. And could anyone have a 17.7 inch foot? That's a really big foot. Maybe Shaq. Maybe if you have someone like Shaq would have a foot that big. So I'd say toss the 2 lower outliers, the 1 centimeter and the 12 centimeter. It is very unlikely these measurements were correct for an Algebra 1 student. Keep the 45 centimeter data point. you might have a shack-sized Algebra 1 student. Anyway, so your homework is going to be, once you finish copying this down, is to do exactly what we just did, but for the height and arm span of left-handed and right-handed people. So you're going to fill out the rest of these boxes, and you can get the information by filling out the height and arm span of each of the left-handed and right-handed people, making our graphs, and that'll be it. So I don't know how you want to organize it, but once you copy and paste it over, it's all going to fit into this chart very nicely. Anyways, that's it for today. The plan for next week is to review, which we'll do on Tuesday, and then we'll have a test and link your fifth block class on Wednesday. All right, so that is it, and I'll stop sharing.